Shenmue is a fantastic game. Anybody who has played this knows what I am talking about. There is so much to talk about on why this is such a must-play classic that I really don't know where to begin. Not only is there a main story to follow, but there are a bunch of side quests. Every NPC is interactable with dialogue, there's an in-game clock with a day and night cycle, and depending on what time of day, people's actions and attitudes change, like people going home from work, finding drunks in bars, and even people acting tired due to an early morning start. Random events happen like thugs picking fights with you, to buying a guy with no money a can of soda, and I haven't even scratched the surface yet. This game is so huge that I might even forget some parts, so forgive me if I forget anything. The game begins with the main character Ryo Hazuki returning home from town, only to find Ie Hayata, the housekeeper, collapsed on the floor outside of the home. Upon investigating, Masayuki Fukihara is blasted through the front door of the dojo, where Ryu's father, Iwa Hazuki, is in conflict with the feared member of the Chinese cartel, also known throughout the game as Lan Di. The reason for Lan Di's appearance is because of a mirror, which for whatever reason this artifact is so important to him. He threatens the life of Ryo, which is the real deal breaker for Iwa. Once the artifact is taken, Lan Di gives the final blow to Iwa and dies in Ryo's arms. Right off the bat, we are given 3 things that are clear and given us to motivate us to play. Number 1, the mirror. What is it? Why is it so important to kill a man over? It must be worth something, or perhaps it has some magical properties. Number 2, the main character's father was killed right in front of you. Good motivation for revenge, right? To teach those scumbags a lesson or two for messing with the Hazuki family? I know I would like to grab that smug git's face and cream it. And number 3, although it isn't really clear, or even in your mind at this moment, but subconsciously, the thought of a mystery and an adventure. This concept is always irresistible. We love going places we're told not to go, to do things that we shouldn't. That feeling of, that's right, I did that. That's this game, all the way through to the end. Presentation wise, I feel as though this is the best that the Dreamcast has to offer. Not only does this game still look great after all of these years, but how the town feels so full of life. The attention to detail is breathtaking. How people look, the audio effects of the town give it that busy feel, the rustic urban look, and how it all changes depending on the weather. When it rains, everything gives this shiny look, and when it snows, everything is frozen over. And you can even hear the snow crunching under your feet as you walk. And don't think it ends there. The chances when you get to go inside buildings are just as striking. They really didn't forget anything. And I almost forgot, the nighttime is so perfect. The nights walking through town and the bars located really give that downtown atmosphere. And nighttime at the warehouse district is so damn creepy. There were moments where I had to stop playing because the music and the strange people walking around just make me feel so uncomfortable. But how could I just skim over the music like that? It's incredible. Easily the best soundtrack I have ever heard in a game. Not one of, the best. This is my #1 soundtrack for video games. And if you dare question it, just listen to it. You have the internet. There is no excuse. Controlling the game is something you will have to get used to. The control scheme in this game is so unique. Using the left trigger to run, D-pad to move the analog stick to pan the camera, right trigger to get a first person view of Ryo's eyes to closer inspect some items. And this is needed to uncover different locations and secrets to progress into the game. And the 4 face buttons do what you'd imagine they would do. Interact with objects and people, open your inventory and quest log, things like that. They took every advantage of the Dreamcast controller. Nothing was spared, and it paid off. I felt like I was doing everything in my power, and within an hour I mastered the controls. They are weird, but they're easy to learn. Also, whilst you're moving around the bottom right hand screen, there is a clock and compass. to help you navigate and to keep track of when certain events take down during the adventure. And, as you probably guessed, your main objective is to get revenge on the man that murdered your father. This is going to require you to go into the village and town to investigate, to find anything or anyone that might help you on your journey. However, most of these objectives will have you waiting until a certain time in a particular place for the event to activate. Now I know what you're thinking, well that's dumb. Why should I have to wait and stop playing for however long it takes? That's just bad game design. Well, you could just stand there like a melon and wait, or you could take advantage and take part of the many activities that pass the time. You could visit the arcade, play some games, that's a good time user. Into collecting? How about these toy capsules? They're only 100 yen each. You can help people around town, or help the injured kitten by petting her or feeding her. Not into that? That's cool. I suppose you could just work on your fighting moves then. If you spend more and more time practicing those moves, you'll do more damage later on when you're fighting. And yes, there is action in this game. And if you master them all, you can find more scrolls to increase your knowledge of kicking ass. By the way, 1 day in Shenmue is 1 hour in real time. So all of these options will use up good time. So you're just not left sitting around doing nothing. Also, you can go to sleep to skip the night and save your game. These are small things, but I feel as though they're worth mentioning. When I talked about the scrolls and practicing your fighting styles, it is for a reason. There are moments in the game where you will encounter some badass dudes and you will have to fend for yourself. This is the most challenging part of the game. The AI treats the battlefield like a real street brawl. They'll all gang up on you, and they will not give you an inch. You've got to learn fast and kick booty. Learning and mastering these moves is very necessary, as the fights later in the game get very tough. Although I do have a message of hope for people listening. Have you ever played a Virtua Fighter game? If yes, you'll do just fine. The inputs for the moves are very similar to a virtual fighting game. You'll pick it up really quick if you just practice a little. Also, there are quick time events, however, these actually feel like you're controlling the event. Most quick time events in today's gaming have you pressing one button and then that's it, the game just pulls you in. In Shenmue, you have to be on your toes. There are plenty of button commands coming at you, so keep an eye open, otherwise you're going to fail. All of these elements combined into a great and fantastic adventure, giving you a vast variety of playstyles to work with. And on top of that, you have a unique world to explore, a huge number of people to talk to and get to know. Developing real communications and relationships with these characters makes the game so much sweeter. Not to mention the events that take place, providing some intense drama, action scenes, romance, sadness and joy, and some very surreal moments. This game made me realise that the video game media can be so much more than a chance of enjoyment. It can be a heartfelt story, filled with some real human emotions, an art that some can rarely pull off, to moments like finding the Phoenix Mirror and that bike ride home after saving Nozomi from the Mad Angels. This masterpiece is truly a must-play classic for anybody who can call themselves gamers. Shenmue, the greatest video game story ever told. Thank you ever so much for watching. This video was inspired because of the announcement of Shenmue 3, now on Kickstarter. The pledge has already been reached, however with your help we can really make this one of the best games of all time. So please consider visiting the website and donating a few pennies. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. You
そうになった時もきっとこの気持ち